Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. Always technical issues. I've been playing around with the settings, trying to get taken care of the buffering issue, and that's part of it. This mute. I'm glad locked yourself out for the session. Locked yourself out. Good, good. No sound. You know what? While I'm here, I'm sure you guys could hear me. But let's go ahead and what I'm going to do to start this session is I'm going to go ahead and manually lock myself out. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a custom lockout. I'm not going to be trading this price action. I'm going to lock myself out. I mean, let's go ahead and until I wake up. We'll do like 3 a.m. Make sure I'm not locking myself out for too long. Oh, wow, I messed it up. Let's do that again. Let's go until like 2 a.m. whatever. Lock myself out. I'm not going to be trading tonight. I'll go through. I'll explain it as well. But yeah, here we go. Going and locking myself out just for tonight. You can kind of tell why, and I'm going to be talking about what is going on. You guys probably know a lot better than I am on this market, but this is the NASDAQ 5-minute chart. I have it on the 5-minute chart because we'll continue to zoom in. Let's actually jump back out to a daily chart and talk more about what is going on for today. I'm very tempted. I was very tempted to jump into a trade tonight, but yeah, I decide it's just better not to. I mean, if I wake up in the morning and this market rallies, then it's woulda, coulda, shoulda, but it's easier to miss a move and just look for the next one rather than jump into something. And I mean, yeah, everyone in the chat who's been trading for a while knows it. Has been there, has done that, all that fun stuff. But let's take a look at the daily. Daily chart does not change a lot, right? Just one candlestick every single day. And now, as I do that, okay, let's take a look and let me get our typical risk disclosure. So here's our risk disclosure in the YouTube chat. As always, it's in the YouTube chat. This is not a signals class. This is just for educational purposes only. So shout out new traders. If you are new, if this is your first time, second time, or however, go ahead and click on that link. Read that risk disclosure. We all know this is not a signals class. We all have our own agency, be able to make our own decisions, click our own buttons, and everything is up to us. We know what happened in the house account today. All those traders that, fading and all that fun stuff did not do too well. And that's why we always say trade at your own risk, do your own trading, follow your own process, not someone else's, and everything else that you see, it's your own trading. Now, back to this market on the daily chart. We only get one new candlestick a day. Today, during the New York session, it was very interesting. I'll go over it when we start to zoom in, but already we gapped up. We gapped up. We did have earnings, so I'm pretty sure that's the reason why we got the volatility and we gapped up. And I mean, that's a decent sized gap, right? From 608 all the way up to, 670s, correct? And here's the one thing, I talked about it yesterday. I'll be talking about it. We've talked about it all week. We're already into the Friday's price action, but Sunday night we gapped down and it was, the sky is falling. Everyone was in a panic. The market was just selling off, tanking, and once again, this is the exact same scenario. We've seen it happen before over and over and over again. Now, it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it happens enough that I feel confident enough repeating this. Is these sell-offs have been buying opportunities. I will always say that. I will continue to say that for as long as these markets over the longer term are bullish. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. I mean, anything can happen, but so far, since I've been a trader, Very rarely is an opportunity, like very rarely does a sell-off not be an opportunity to buy. And it's more of the same. We have a dramatic sell-off. Guess what? End of the week, we are already pushing up to where we opened on Sunday night. And yeah, here we are. Are we going to come up and test this gap? It's looking pretty positive. It's looking pretty positive that yeah, nothing's 100%, but if I was to place a trade, I would be long this market. I would definitely be long. I'd be looking for some way to buy this market to see if we can come up, test at least where we opened Sunday night, and maybe make an attempt to fill this gap. Or maybe we sell off, make attempt to fill this gap where we're in between gaps at this point. It's kind of funny. Yeah, let's take a look. This is zooming into the hourly chart, right? So this is just looking at the hourly chart. I'm going to delete this one for a moment. We could have that gap come in. You can see this was major resistance. Are we starting to break out of that resistance? It's starting to look like that. We're continuing to make these higher lows. This was Wednesday FOMC. Lots of volatility. We ended up rallying. Big sell-off, it looks like, this morning. And then we've just basically recovered that. So it's going to be interesting. This is scenario doesn't happen too often where we're in between two gaps and the traders are like, yeah, gaps always get filled. Well, we're going to find out which gap gets filled first. Do gaps always get filled? Is this gap to the upside going to get filled tomorrow, tonight, next week, maybe next month? I'm not sure. And then what about the gap that we just seen tonight, right? Because this is the gap. We had the earnings come out. I didn't see the earnings. I was busy doing other stuff, but there's the gap. Some of it was filled at the open, right? I'd say 25%, right? 25% maybe was filled, but we're continuing to rally and come on. All right, yeah. Between two gaps. That's that should be the headline for this market tomorrow or tonight. Charts after dark, between two gaps. Yeah, it's a hard place to trade. Oh man. Okay, this stream might be getting too far out of hand if I don't stop myself now. No, I need to gain my composure, everybody. Gain my composure. I think the risk reward on either side could be difficult, right? Because you don't really want to sell this market with such a bullish tone to it after the earnings, after FOMC, and after all this volatility. You don't want to be selling this rally, and then you don't want to buy it either, right? Because we've already bounced so much, and I mean, the risk reward, I don't know, at least for me anyway. All right, chat. I don't know why I even entertain and read the chat sometimes. Who's trading? That's the question. Who's trading tonight? I mean, this 5-minute chart, this is an hourly chart. I haven't zoomed into the 5-minute chart yet. Just buy the dip. Trading on a practice. Lito, you're trading. You traded for 100 ticks. I'm trading. I'm not. It's looking very tricky. So I'm mixed. I think for me, the better play is to sit on my hands and wait to see what's going to be transpiring overnight. Let the market kind of digest. I mean, the market's had time to digest FOMC earnings that same evening, Thursday night or Wednesday night, and then again earnings tonight. So I think, in my opinion, the market needs time to digest of what's going on, digest FOMC and earnings and all that fun stuff. And then probably by the New York session, we'll start to see things, hopefully settle down, better market structure, right? This is very choppy, very whipsaw, very volatile. And so maybe tomorrow we could start to see better market structure. Remember, trading is optional. You don't have to trade. You can only trade the price action you want to trade, and that suits your strategy, process over profits. And so we'll see. And what I was going to do is zoom into the 5-minute chart and kind of talk about the same thing. We can see the gaps a lot better on the 5-minute chart, but yeah, another example. This is no longer unexpected, right? You could see what just happened right when I was getting ready for the stream, 5 minutes before the stream. Look at this move. Look at this move. I'm going to zoom into the 1-minute chart so you guys could see it more. So random. Or is it, right? Was this, what event? Was there some type of headline? What do you expect, right? What else? Like, was there anything else when I was pulling this up? Trump, BRICS unlikely to replace US dollar. Trump rules BRICS replacing US dollar in international trade, rules out, warns potential 100% tariffs if BRICS attempts to replace the US dollar. Why not, right? Like, it's expect the unexpected. It's almost expected at this point right now. We've seen it happen. So on this 1-minute chart, look at that. We're just, cruising normal. Boom. 50-point sell-off in a minute. Complete reversal, rally. And, yeah. It's I don't know. How do you put this into words? It's pretty consistent anymore, right? Every single time we're trading in slow markets, it seems like there is something that's going on at this time of night that's bringing the volatility. And so I am definitely on the sideline to say, I don't want to risk it tonight. When we see this type of price action, when we see these things happening every night, for me, it's better not putting money at risk. Some traders love this stuff, and we've been seeing some really great moves overnight, and there's definitely opportunities when we see volatility and moves like this at night. But I mean, you can imagine having your stop loss anywhere, like ran some stops for just whatever reason. And then here we are into these 45s. 50s. Oh, okay, here we go. And then just like that. Wow. Tyler Smith, does no one believe in stops on this channel? What do you mean, Tyler? We talk about stops daily and how important having stops are. Look at this market. I know Coach Jay, right before I came on stream, I mean, he sent me a screenshot. Saying, let me see if I can find it. Coach Jay sent me a screenshot of gold. There was 1,000 contracts, being offered on gold, on GC futures. Yeah, look at that move. That is just so... This is not normal tonight, everybody. Like, this price action is not normal. It's, once again, abnormal price action. XVIP, yep, there it was. It's still sitting there, Coach Jay says. 1,000 contracts sitting at the ask on gold. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up so everyone can see it, if you don't mind. Yeah, look at that. There's those 1,000 contracts on gold at 2852.7. 1,000, and those are the big contracts too. It's not those micros. That's big. You got to stop right behind that. Yeah, look at this volatility. Anybody in the chat that's long right now? How did he get the rectangle drawing tool? I mean, I can't remember. Came in here, and then you have to, hit the star button, I believe. Something like that. Yeah, star. Look at this market rallying. Yep, I was left for 2,000, long from 700. Dang, that's a good price. Yes, I'm long now. Do crude oil, please. Yeah, I'll get to crude. Right now, we're looking at the NASDAQ. Then I'll move over to crude, then the Nikkei, and then we'll top it off with gold and continue to have these good conversations. It's an hour and a half, so we got plenty of time. Getting ready to turtle soup. I'm short 7,500 contracts. Throw the technicals out the window. Full bore, baby. I mean... The technicals can still play, right? Like if we take a look at this is a 1 minute chart, obviously, but still, I mean, that's a flagging pattern, right? Where we consolidate and we're getting tighter and tighter, and then we just, break through one direction or the other. New session highs. Where did we say that gap was? There's the gap. There's the gap from Sunday. If we look at it, I mean, we're basically right there, right here, right now. It's from what, like about 170, 171, somewhere right there. So there we are. I mean, we're at the gap, and yeah, I locked myself out, and I definitely was looking to get in long. I wanted to buy this market, but I think even though I'm missing out on this run, I'm perfectly okay because it's not. This is just too much. I'm not willing to put my money at risk in this type of a market condition, even though it would have worked out. It's one of those woulda, coulda, shoulda trades, right? Ideally, follow FVG. We're going to continue to watch. We're going to see if we can. It's going to be interesting to see if we can get above that the Sunday open. That's the Sunday open, correct? Is it 71? I mean, it looks pretty close to there. It's pretty close to that. You hope Dobie got his 100 points? Yeah, that's what I was mentioning on the house account, everybody. The house account did absolutely amazing. Big kudos to the team on fast markets, on power hour. It's coming along really smooth. The process for the house account, they were up positive, I think like $1,600 during the fast market session, and then like another $1,900 or something during power hour. It was just absolutely amazing to see. And the process for the house account and what the team's doing on the TopstepTV day show continues to get better and better and better. It's a beautiful thing to see. And it shows you, and it's just proof. It's process over profits. Process, process, process. Once you get a nice process, then you can continue to, trade it and trade it and trade it. Last year was a rough one, right? With anything new, it takes time. Just like anybody else. You could be the best trader in the world, and if you don't have a process, or if you're still trying to figure out a process, you could lose money, right? You have multi-billion-dollar, companies and hedge funds trying to figure this market out. In no way, just a few guys are going to be able to just jump into this market and start making tons and tons of money without figuring out their own process. KB, my process is DCA. Yeah. All right. Well, keep an eye on the NASDAQ. Let's move along. Let's take a look at crude oil. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, let me just jump over to this sim account. Let's take a look at crude oil here. And hourly. No, this is 5 minute. Ooh, we seeing some volatility on the 5 minute on crude as well. Let's take a look at the hourly. Here we are again. Here we are again in crude. I mean, you guys, if you've watched this for the past couple of weeks, you kind of know what I'm probably going to be talking about, right? Is this an opportunity to short crude oil? Oh, I don't know now. Odds are the trend is your friend. The crude oil has been holding this for quite some time, so maybe this is just another opportunity to short crude oil. Being the devil's advocate of saying, could we short this? Sure. I mean, the shorts have been playing out pretty dang well here in crude oil, but looking at this from the long side, let's just take a step back and maybe look at this from the long side. I'm going to try and look at it from the long side. We did get down to this zone, right? I mean, it's not perfect, but we are down in this zone. We did get to about $72 a barrel. And I will say there's one thing that's kind of interesting, right? And this is what it is. I don't know if you want to call it divergence. Every time we make the lows, right? And so maybe this time we didn't make as low of a low, right? The difference between each of these lows, every time we make every single time we make a new low, how big of a difference is it, right? If we were to measuring these moves, and like how big of a difference is it? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, you could see this one was pretty close. And I don't know. It's hard to say. It's very hard to make a case for the longs, to be honest. You can see we did rally back up to this resistance area. So maybe back down to $72 a barrel we go. I'm having a hard time finding a case for the buyers. I mean, every which way I look at, maybe there's something where it says this is a low. Maybe we making a higher low. Maybe you can make that kind of case. It's just hard to in crude, especially with the way that this has been trending lately. So I don't like. I can't even find a trade on crude. Maybe a short because the trend's your friend, right? We're continuing to make lower highs and lower lows. Other than that, it's a big fat pass for me. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Nikkei. Nothing's changed on the Nikkei too. If we look at the Nikkei and we look at crude oil, it's kind of the same thing, right? Where we're making higher lows. I mean, crude oil, we're making lower lows, but we're in a channel. We're in a channel here in the Nikkei, just like we were in a channel on the crude oil, right? Here's the Nikkei, and then we go back to crude oil, and we kind of think of it as the same thing. And I mean, it's very similar. Now, nothing's perfect in this market. Once again, nothing is perfect, but it is a channel where we can, find opportunities in this market. This is an hourly chart. Remember, this is an hourly chart. I'm looking at this hourly chart, and I like looking at this higher time frame. Start on the daily, look at the hourly chart. We can start to notice trends and patterns on the hourly chart, and then we can kind of set ourselves in the right direction and give ourselves better opportunities, right? And so you can see this channel on the hourly chart. We could, if you do plan on trading, maybe you want to zoom into the 5-minute and then place a trade. You can see that this news spike, right, where we just rallied up just out of nowhere a dollar, or just up a dollar, down a dollar, kind of consolidating. And then when you start to zoom in, so we decided that this channel, remember we did the channel on the 1 hour. This is what it looks like on a 5-minute chart. And then as we continue to zoom in, maybe this will start to allow us to get triggered into a trade. It's like, well, we're making these higher lows. If we decide to start breaking down, maybe that could be the trigger to get in short. Maybe this could be a trigger to get in short. So the setup and everything I looked at was on the hourly charts, right? This channel, the trend, the higher lows, the higher highs, or the lower highs and lower lows. And then I start to zoom in, and then that will help me decide direction. And the smaller time frame will help me decide entry price and execution and the setup. So higher time frame, direction, bigger analysis. Lower time frame, like a 5-minute, could help me decide, where do I get in? What am I looking for? Maybe more fine tuning and, kind of like Google Maps, zooming in to find the actual trade. So going the same reference. We take a look at the Nikkei, which is the Japanese market, and I like to do the same thing. We take a look at the hourly chart and say, okay, you know what? We're in this channel on the hourly chart. I would like to buy the Nikkei when we get close to these lows. Whenever we get close to these lows, there's been some good buying opportunities. And then I start to zoom in for a 5-minute chart, and I say, okay, great. Whenever we get close to these lows, is there a buying opportunity? It looks like there was one tonight. Probably right as I was starting stream, the market sold off, and, it didn't really give us too great of an opportunity tonight. Last night, sure, there's probably a decent opportunity to get in long around these lows. You could see there was opportunities, during this period, opportunities to buy this. Will this give us an opportunity around here? Maybe, maybe not. And remember, this doesn't work 100% of the time. However, this helps us position ourselves in good trade location. It helps us get ourselves in good trades and optimize our risk rewards. Okay, let's take a look at gold. We were just talking about gold a moment ago. What a rally. Wow, I didn't realize how big of a rally in gold that was. Wait, all-time highs? We were just talking about that, Coach Jay. Coach Jay and I last night was just talking about buying the dip. I've been talking about it, for 2 weeks, right? Is buying the dip, buying the dip opportunities. It's the same thing I was just talking about in Crude, talking about in the Nikkei. It's the same exact thing every time we sell off and make a higher low, a higher low, higher low, and so forth. These have been great buying opportunities. And sure enough, we broke out. We broke through the shoulder, head, and shoulder from back here, right? And yeah, we've broken through new all-time highs. Coach Jay, yeah. MS, I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. I know you guys can't see it because it was hidden. I don't understand what you're talking about. So anyway, it's just another and a beautiful opportunity to buy the dip. Now that we've started to break out, we made new all-time highs. So we made new all-time highs here in gold. And Coach Jay said there was 1,000 contract order. I would be curious to see. It's hard to buy it up here because can we consider this overextended? Sure. You can make this case to say we're overextended. Maybe we make that same channel, right? That same channel. I mean, these markets have been in a channel, which is weird that all of these markets so far have been in the same channel. Gold, crude oil, the Nikkei has been very nice trending channel lately. And I think for gold, I do not want to buy it. I'm going to wait. We're going to see if it can, have some type of a pullback near the bottom end of this channel. Maybe, support becomes resistance. See how it did before. It does it a few times. Maybe we could do that same thing. But yeah, I think this is just one where if you have not got in long, maybe there is an opportunity. You missed that opportunity. Key L, where is that 1,000 contract on gold? I showed it earlier at the beginning of class. I don't know if it's still there. If Coach Shea, you could just look at the level 2. It was at, let's see if I could find it here. It was at 52.7, 28, 52.7. Is it still there? You guys will probably know before I do. 28, 52.7 on gold. Brian White, you're welcome. This is my time of night. This is my favorite time of night. The markets are always open. They're always there. This is a fun, relaxing. It's not as crazy. It's not as hectic, and it's a lot more fun. I can answer questions, and we could get to a lot more stuff each and every night. So let's get to some of these questions. Let's go through here and get to some of these questions. Not going to lie, $1,000 away from passing your 50K combine. I'm nervous to take trades. Anyone else get that feeling? Q Gaming. Yes, that's something you need to master yourself, is not get nervous, not get into those emotions, and just focus on your process. And then you'll pass your combine as need be. Don't force it. Don't force trying to pass a combine. It will only get you in trouble. Don't think about it. Do not think about it. Maybe even size down, right? Maybe even size down. How do you approach a market where ES is about to fill a gap, but NQ is just entering it? Lucas Cruz. If I'm looking at a situation where the NASDAQ, here we are on the NASDAQ. All right. NASDAQ's just starting to fill this gap. Yep, NASDAQ is starting to fill this gap. So if the NASDAQ is just starting to fill the gap from Sunday and the ES already has, to me that does not mean anything. To somebody else it might. I look at these as two different markets. I look at the NASDAQ and say, can the NASDAQ fill it? The ES has filled it. Great. Does that change the way I view the NASDAQ? Not really. I don't like to look at correlation between markets to make a decision on one market, but a lot of good traders do. That's my own personal preference. Great field buster. Not sure that question. I don't know what that means. Yeah, freak accident. If the suppliers and buyers like $1.50 or $2 different in price. I'm not sure, EMS, what you're referring to. Reverse situation here. ES hasn't filled the gap quite yet. How many miles do you run, Deg? It's been about a mile and a half a day. It's not exact, though. Trying to bump it up. My conditioning is horrible right now. Coach, we know you're a good scalper. If you scalp on crude oil at 1 minute frame, what would you do? Birdman, if I was to scalp on crude oil on a 1 minute time frame, what would I do? It'd be the same thing you guys see me do every single night. Nothing's changed, to be honest. If I was to scalp any market, nothing's changed. Honestly, this market's not very volatile enough. There's not enough movement in this market to scalp. But here's an example, okay? And this is purely it. I would look at the same thing I do that you see me do every single night. Same setups, same technical analysis. I mean, this is hindsight, so take that with a grain of salt. You can see there's some nice support here. And as soon as we break down, that is a nice little scalp short opportunity for, I'd look for, maybe 5 ticks, like 5 ticks in crude oil. That's not a lot, but that's just tonight, right? With slow price action. And it's the same thing I look for on every single market. I'm bearish crude oil because remember we took a look at the hourly time frame and we seen, it's bearish. This market's been selling off. We are at the upper end. And so, yeah, even if I am scalping, that hourly time frame does play into if I was going to scalp. I looked at the hourly time frame and I'm bearish. If I was going to hold a trade on crude oil for over a day or 2 days, I'd want it to be short, especially up into this zone on the hourly chart. And then I'll zoom in. And so, if I'm bearish, even though I'm only going to take small scalps, I would still want to take it to that direction. I want to take it to the short direction because I'm bearish on that higher time frame. And so for this is as purely an example, I made sure I did that risk disclosure, is I see this level as a level of support. Say 73.10, okay? 73.10. Actually, we're kind of consolidating here for a moment. This is a 1 minute chart. This is extreme. I'll just look for an area of consolidation and say if we break down, then most likely we could get down to 73.10. So from like 15 to 10, that's five ticks. That might not be enough there. And it's actually looking like we might break through this. And then if we break through the upper end, we could get up to 24. So is 18 to 24 enough? You know what? That might be enough. And so, I look at just being like, looking for these little scalps. It's hard to do. This is not something I will ever recommend. But it's the same. The idea is it's the same technical analysis that I use on the 5 minute, on a 10 minute, or not 10 minute, 5 minute, or an hourly chart, or even a daily. The markets are fractal. So technicals work on any time frames that I've ever traded on. For me, myself, the higher the time frame, the better the technicals. Let's go through. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Let's take a look. I'm going to keep an eye out on a lot of these markets. Okay, Nasdaq's rejecting off that. Interesting. How big are we up tonight? We are up from where we closed. Oh, that's a tempting short, to be honest. See, this is why I'm glad I locked myself out. That's why I'm happy I locked myself out, to be honest. Let's do that. I could do it on a demo account, though. Let's do it on a demo to have some fun. I'm going to jump into a short on the NASDAQ. let's get into a short here. If it will fill me at, trying to get filled at the ask. Don't mind. Let's get out of this. I'm gonna risk the top of that. We'll see. We'll see if we get a nice. It's pretty volatile tonight too. Technically, the 3-bar reversal was up here at 73, so I'm getting in a little bit late. Let me zoom into a 100. The 3-bar reversal was up here at 74. 74 was the better entry. I could look at 60. I could probably take 60. If we take a look at the ATR, let me look at the ATR and see where we're at in terms of volatility. I should be happy with about 6 points. I should be happy with 6 points. Let's take 1.5 ATR. Well, I'll take 9. We'll take 9 if it gives it to us. Should be happy with 6. You know, I'm not going to complain. There we go. There you go. I'll take a little bit. Yeah, so there's a nice scalp. Yeah, that better entry was up here. That was much better entry at 74. But yeah, there you go. There's a good example, right? That's simple, straightforward, easy. I don't want to say easy, but doesn't matter what time frame. It's the same technical analysis. This is I'm fine with doing an ATR. This is on a 100 tick. I should probably have done that on a 1 minute to see what an ATR is on the 1 minute. It depends on what time frame, right? Because you can look at the ATR. I talked about this a little bit to get an idea about how many points you should look for. But here's the idea, right? This is a 3-bar reversal. And I talked about this a lot, right? It is, we get this main reversal bar, and then as soon as it crosses the bottom, then that's my entry at 73. And if this setup is on the 5 minute, you should use an ATR on the chart and on the time frame that your setup is. Okay, so 5 minute setup, everything is, the ATR is actually at 16. The ATR is at 16. However, I got in late, right? You heard me. I got in late, and it looked like it's basically half the move. The ATR was already halfway over, and then when I zoomed in, right? What price did I get in at? Let's go orders. I got in at 65. So I got in at 65. So I got in halfway over, and I caught 56. So I basically caught 9 points. So I got 9 points from there to there, from 65 to 56. Caught 9 points on that. However, the overall move for that particular trade was 16 points. And if we measure it, it was 18 points. So I should be happy with half, and half of that was right about there. So I mean, does that make sense to everybody, or is that just too much? Did that make sense to anybody there in the chat, or was that too much? This is the same thought process I go through during the New York session. Yes, yes. My stop was above the last candle, so my stop should be up above here somewhere. That made sense? That's not too much? Good, good. That's how I typically use ATR. Now, I've traded for so long and so much. Typically, I can kind of just see the volatility in 1 minute. It's not going to be 100% accurate. I would never expect it to be 100% accurate. That, for me anyway, because I would have to do the calculation like every single time, right? And when I'm doing this on the New York session, the markets are moving so fast, I'm not going to be able to do the calculation, or at least I don't want to do the calculation, right? Where it's like, okay, 3-bar reversal, calculate 16 points. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Let's get everything set up and take the trade. I used to do that. I've gotten decent enough to where, I mean, I don't want to have an ATR on my chart because I like my charts very clean, but the idea is the same. The idea is the same. Refriza, am I a counter trend trader? It depends on what you refer to as the trend. That was a pure scalp. The better trade is going to be buying this. If the market comes down to 730, I would look for a reversal here, and then I would look for a long. This is my favorite trade. Can you say it's a counter trend? It depends on what you refer to as a trend, because this right here, this little sell-off, this little pullback, and then I'm looking for a reversal, you can say it's a counter trend on this moment, right? You could zoom in and say this is the trend. It's down. It's down over the last 5-10 minutes. Or you could say and look at like zoom out and say, well, actually the trend is up over the past, 12 hours. The trend is up. And then someone could come in and say, no. The trend is actually down over the last 10 minutes. And so I would like to say I really do enjoy getting in with the trend on higher time frames. Higher time frames, I always want to position myself with the trend. Sometimes I do take counter trends depending on the situation. But yes, I would prefer to be in long in this type of a market. However, there are some situations that I'm perfectly fine. See money, take money, depending on so many different scenarios and so many different situations. It'd be like telling a sports team, right? If you guys like football, shout out, the Super Bowl is coming up. And, that's like saying this football team, all they do is run the ball, right? Well, they just, when you hear a football team only runs the ball, yeah, they run the ball more than they pass it, but they still pass it about 40% of the time, right? Like they still pass the ball a decent amount of time. It's not 10%. It's like it's not 90%, 10%. There's a decent mix. NQ 1 minute looking like a head and shoulder with a blow off top, doesn't it? It's hard to say anything on like the 1 minute and the Asian market, to be honest, because of this, right? It's just been happening every night lately. So expected, so unexpected, but yet it's expected. It's unplanned unexpectations, or how would we word this? The fact that we get this type of news every night, it's unplanned but expected, unexpected but expected. It's like, you know what, it's gonna randomly come out tonight, maybe. Like, it shouldn't catch us by surprise. Jimmy, yeah, it depends on where the refs are. Who's paid the refs the most money? Concentrator, why hide the balance of a practice account? It's just the overall settings, right? It doesn't really matter. See, balance, save. No balance, save. And then whenever I log out and log back in, it'll save. And it doesn't matter whether I log out or back in on my demo account. It doesn't matter whether I do that on my live account, right? Yep, 100% transparency. Everything's transparent here at Topstep. Absolutely everything. When I place a trade, when somebody on Topstep, on air, on Topstep TV, places trades, you see it. You see where they get in. You see the stop loss, the take profit. If someone hits their daily loss limit, it's talked about. If someone loses the live account, it's mentioned. If someone's struggling, that's the reality and transparency that you get. I know a lot of traders on social media and here on YouTube might not be used to that, and it might feel weird to see this level of transparency. But that's it. I know there's a lot of traders who are so obsessed with how much, what's the account balance, what's this, what's that. But I do hide this because this is not what needs to be talked about. The process is, and education is what needs to be talked about. And so whenever I hide this and then I log out and log back in, it will do the same thing on practice accounts. It's not a big deal. David, why does the VWAP indicator move around so much compared to the 1450 200 EMA? That's a good question. I think it depends on the settings of each on the VWAP. I know Coach Jay might be able to tell you a lot more. I would say that the VWAP, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, I'm not a professional when it comes to indicators or VWAP. But the VWAP starts out at this session. Now, the more volume that happens, the less it moves. So since this is a very new session, okay, so since this is a very new session, we just started a few hours ago at 5 p.m. Central, there's not a lot of volume. So the VWAP does not have a lot of data in it. It doesn't have a lot of volume. So it's susceptible to move more, okay? But then during the New York session, let's see, it moves less, right? Let's see if we could do, I'm trying to give it, I'm horrible at examples on this. So I'm sure somebody else could probably talk about this a whole lot better. So the more volume comes in, the less it moves. I think that's what I'm just trying to say. You'll see it move a lot now because a little spike in volume could move it dramatically, and then it will start to smooth itself out. And then the New York session comes, and then it will change and then adjust. I need to zoom out and back in again. Yeah, Coach Jay would be a lot better than I am at explaining VWAP or anchored VWAP or any of that. David, I have not used any indicators this year. I find myself managing my trades better. Great. Good. That's good. It's all about trade management. And you know what? You know what I was watching again? So I've watched it one time, and I'm re-watching parts of this. This is absolutely amazing. Anybody catch this? Did anybody catch this today? Shout out in the chat. Let me know. Let me know if you guys caught this. You know what it is. It's Jim Dalton joined us on TopstepTV. It was, I mean, you can't make this up. You can't. Where do you get this anywhere else? Right? It was such a beautiful thing. I didn't understand a lot because I'm not so much understanding that in depth, and it's not my style. But a lot of what he was saying, it's such a beautiful thing to see. I've watched it once. I was rewatching some of this because I wanted to quote him on a few things. My memory sucks when it comes to what he was saying. But I was considered getting some clips. I know Topstep TV and behind the scenes will getting clips from this, but it was just pure gold. The way he approaches the markets, the way he was seeing the markets, and the way he talks about it, it is, I mean, there's a reason why he is who he is, and he's such a legend. I have done Dalton's foundation and advanced courses. Market profile. Yeah, him and Hoag are something else, man. Is it possible to rewatch it? Yeah, so I do know Topstep's going to be getting clips of this, but you could just rewatch. Like, go to Topstep's YouTube channel, and then you could rewatch the day show. It starts at let's see, right here at 3:44, and the conversations are just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I turn my volume up so I can listen to it. And a lot of what he says is just, you don't get that anywhere. All that experience. And I was trying to find this one. Oh, of course. Now we get ads. Of course. I'll let the ads play. And I wanted to talk about one thing on here because I'm going to continue to talk about this because I think it's so important. Let's skip through these ads. Let me see if I could find it. It's talking about auction and market theory, but this, I don't know a lot about market profile and watching it, but I think watching him explain this got me so interested in understanding it. And he played a lot of this at like 5x speed and 10x speed, and watching the volume come in and watching and being able to predict. And Hoag does a lot of this stuff every morning and every day on TopstepTV that you can't find anywhere else. So outside of the market profile, the one thing that interested me the most was just the conversation, the psychological part, the emotional part, and just as a trader in general is amazing. Let's see. You guys could hear it, right?
Around references, whether it's a 200-day moving average,
He uses
whether
Window
it's the
Trader.
overnight high, whether it's yesterday's high or
There's
a
a
two-day
lot of old
balance
school
high.
cats out there.
I always
You should
want to
look at.
see
You can't find it
how
anywhere.
the market
Yeah.
acts around these important references. But
So
I'm looking
anyway,
at it
thoughts on that,
from a
everybody? I
contextual
enjoyed it.
standpoint
Who caught it?
versus
Who in
most
this
people
chat was
are
able to
looking at
watch
it only
this
from
and catch
price.
some of it?
And I think you just kind of really answered one of the questions that was sent into us is,
ABS?
which do you prefer, market profile or volume profile? And it's really a combination of the two from what we just saw, isn't it?
Was at work, so you missed it?
Yeah, I use
What
the
was your favorite
standard
part?
market
What was your
profile,
favorite part?
which is the TPO market profile. But on the left, I have the volume columns. Remember, the
You watched every
column
single second
exactly
of it? It's worth
to
rewatching
the
if you've already
left
seen
of the
it.
profile is the current 30-minute period. And the volume to the right, or to the
saw
second to the
Incredible.
left, is the composite for the day.
Who
Now,
does
what
not
you'll
know
see
who Jim Dalton
later
is?
on this morning, there was another break, and during the
You're gonna watch
half-hour
it
period,
again?
that break
The whole
was
thing
light.
was your favorite part.
So
Fair
that
enough.
told me
Fair enough.
there was a very good chance that the market on a short-term
Yeah, he
basis
looks at the
was going
market
to retrace that light
much,
volume,
much more in depth
which
than
it
I
did.
do.
I mean, if we could play the
And you know what was also surprising for me? Yeah, he's on. I want to make sure I word this correctly. I want to make sure I word this correctly because it could be taken wrong. Is that somebody at his age is able to use this level of in-depth market understanding using these technologies? I know if I tried to explain this to like my grandpa, he would have no idea what I'm talking about or idea of how to use this level of technology. And it just kind of puts it in perspective that the transition from the trading floor to what he's doing now is just mind-blowing to me. It's just mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing that, Hoag and Jim Dalton, and there's some great traders out there at, the older age that has so many years of experience, who's been able to see everything on the trading floor, who's been able to see everything, right? Make this transition and be able to do this. I'd be just, I don't know. I'm lost for words. Just lost for words, to be honest, to see this kind of stuff and to see that he's been able and willing to come on to Topstep TV, join us, have this. If you guys don't know him, he is the author. Here's his books, right? Markets and Momentum. Everyone should know this one. Mind Over Markets, and then Markets and Profile. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And I'll be lucky if I get to that age and I'm still trading and I'm still as knowledgeable and as sharp as he is. So, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Gives you more motivation. man, if I'm 80 years old and I could still trade and use whatever technology is out at that time, I'd be happy. I'd be very happy. Coach Hoop, you was there when CQG's machines were on the floor. And does he trade bull flags? I don't think he trades bull flags. Too many years of experience. I know. Here's the thing, and maybe this is a good conversation to bring up with Hoag and the team. Is if you think of it like this, in 100 years from now, there's going to be a completely new group of people that are on this earth, right? Except for, a handful. Like in 100 years from right now, in this moment, there's going to be a whole new group of people on this earth. We get the privilege from learning from people like Hoag and Jim Dalton and people who've been around, and that can never be taken for granted. Like I don't know how much I've actually learned from my grandparents, from people of that age, but that's not only knowledge, it's life experience, and it's everything that should not be taken for granted. And if you take stuff like that for granted, then it's ego, it's blindness. You're blind. You need to continue to always learn, always push yourself, and learn from others, regardless of who they are. We gotta die like a good trader. AJ, it looks like a lot, right? When you take a look at Jim Dalton's screen at first, it looks like a lot, but the more you pay attention to it, the better it is. Got it. Being humble. Yeah, being humble. If you're not humble now, eventually you're going to be. Life, markets and life in general will find a way to humble you, and hopefully you could find that, right? You received a lot of wisdom today. A lot more to come too. I continue to be impressed on what the team is able to put together and bring on to Topstep TV. And now remember, it's not just Jim Dalton, right? Steenbarger, we had Steenbarger on too. Brett Steenbarger, that is just as good. And it's the same thing. It's the level that we get here and that we're privileged to have to learn from and get better. It gives us an advantage. EMS, after this, you're rewatching this? Yeah. Well, also, if you do have the time, watch Brett Steenbarger's too. It's always well worth it. And if you pay attention close enough, there's gems that they talk about that are absolutely amazing. Wasn't this a 3-bar reversal? Yeah. This is a 3-bar reversal. I took it. Nice little trade right there. We failed to break out. We failed to break out into the Sunday gap, right? We failed to the Sunday gap breakout. Look at that. That is a failure to fill the gap. Jerome D was great today. Also great hint in his work today. EMS, he even admitted that he dunked hundreds of thousands. Yeah. Yep. It's something else. You've been humbled by 4XFAs today? Yeah. Once you get to that level, then, there's no sense of hiding things, right? We all know that. No sense of hiding, no sense of not showing any of that. Stay humble, trade micros. We learn every day, and the market teaches us, or we get slapped in the face, and you learn the hard way. You know what? It's the same in boxing. I over the past couple of weeks, I know I've been talking to boxing, and hopefully I don't annoy everybody in here enough about boxing, because that's been kind of my thing for a little while. It's the same in boxing. You cannot go into boxing being cocky. You have to be humble, and you have to respect every freaking boxer, because as soon as you let your guard down, you're gonna get smacked around. It happened to me yesterday. I talked about it, Coach Jay and I got knocked on my butt by a 17-year-old kid. Just knocked me on my butt. I was off balance, and yeah, regardless of how much I might think I'm bigger or stronger or better or more experienced, it's always humbling. Paul Yoon. Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Boxing, I feel like, is from the ground up. I would say footwork has a slight edge. Claudia, you saw egos getting smashed every day at the BJJ gym. Yeah, same in the markets. You get to see egos get smashed. The only egos that do not get smashed in the markets are the ones that are hiding it. They have you have that beautiful reset button. Reprogramming mind. 17. Wow, yeah, 17-year-olds are fast. Like super fast. Anointed trades, Canelo for sure. I have Canelo on that one. Your stop loss gets smashed way too often. We see it time and time again. Even myself, I take losses on TopstepTV. That's part of learning. It's part of learning all the time. Let me go through these markets. Let's check these markets. Not a lot is happening. Yeah, we see Crude is finding some buyers. Crude's still holding this, right? We're still holding this trend line so far. Higher lows. Maybe we come up. Maybe we can make a run. Maybe we can make a run here in Crude. It's harder to sell it up here. It's also hard to buy on this downtrend. So interesting to see how that one plays out. Oh, this is a 30-minute chart, hourly, probably the same thing. Let's take a look at Nikkei one more time. Nikkei has not really moved, and gold, what's gold doing? Kind of just staying flat too. Gold's at a critical level. Yep, it's basically made all-time highs. Gold right here, right now, all-time highs. You guys know very well that reset button. Yeah. Today's the first time trading Express account after 4 months trying to pass. Any tips for you? Armando, best tip when someone asks me about advice for XFAs is trade smaller, focus on your process, and trade exactly the way that got you into that XFA. Best advice. That's the same advice I give for everybody who asks me that same questions. Tyler Smith, how do you monitor for news catalysts? So before Topstep, I would listen to, man, it's been a while, to be honest. Ever since I've had TopstepTV, it's been TopstepTV that I listen for news. Other than that, it's markets. It really is. I don't really care about news catalysts. I can look and I could say, okay, these are the news that's coming out, right? As a trader, you should always be aware of what news is planned and what's going on, right? What news is planned? Is there earnings? What day of the week? And make sure you know everything that's going to be coming out and that's expected and what's planned for, okay? And then when it comes to unexpected events, I tend to get it first from the market, like visually from the market. So here's an example. We've seen it happen tonight. We're seeing it happen almost every night lately. This, right? Like tonight, this happened. Okay. Market just, you could look at this. Let's zoom in even like a 5-second chart. Okay. 5-second chart. Very 5, 10, 15 seconds. That is crazy. A nice, 50-point sell off in 15 seconds. When this happens, I'm like, okay, something's going on. Well, it's been pretty consistent lately to say, well, you know what? What's been happening lately that's been causing this? Well, I know that Trump's been, making headlines with tariffs. And when I see something like this, number one, I don't overreact. I don't jump in. I don't FOMO. I don't do this. I do that. Because the market is going to know before you do. That's the reality. The market will always know, trust me, before you do. And people spend tons and tons of money getting the news before everybody else. And so market reacts first, and then you see how it plays out. And you, as a trader, will only be able to react to the market. Then, it's like, okay, wow, this major craziness happened. It looks like a news event. I take a look. I could probably, what is it? You guys can name, there's probably a whole bunch of list of places where you could go and see it. But sure enough, we take a look here, and that's exactly what it was. Trump talking about tariffs. Trump talking about, unlikely BRICS replacing the dollar. And then I look back at the chart and say, okay, you know what? That made sense. Everything that I seen there made sense. That's why we sold off randomly at that period of time. And so that's the way I have been, and I have always looked at the news. Ever since Topstep TV, I just have Topstep TV going on. And then when I see something like this, I'll just be like, okay, I'll wait. Eddie's going to say it on Topstep TV, or you're going to hear it on Topstep TV if it's affecting these markets. Odds are. But our job as traders is to react to what the market's doing, not try and predict, not try and guess, and not be like, oh, you know what? This means market's going to go up. Because honestly, I've been caught too many times thinking that same thought process. Ooh, here we go. Is this a buying opportunity here? I'm going to take it. On a practice account, I'm taking this buying opportunity. Let's see. We'll see. I might be a little too late. And I missed that. Oh, well. 10 points higher, huh? That happened really fast. I tried to get in at 45. Let's see if we get it pull back down to 48. As soon as I clicked join bid, the market bounced 10 points. Ben Staples, you got 43s? 43 and a quarter? Nice. See, this is why I don't trade my live account when I'm running a stream. It's because of this stuff. It is, when I'm teaching, I want to focus on teaching, and I find myself more distracted when I am trying to teach and run a class. There's a lot of volume. Gold selling off. Ned, so I do not like market orders. I do not like market orders, especially during the Asian session, because of the spread and slippage. I've had too many bad experiences trading a live account, right? Because I trade a live account. So live accounts, you really do get slippage. You have to get filled at the next available price in a live account. Yes, there's always something to be said, is that there's opportunity costs. Is it better? Do you want to be in the market or do you want a better price? And I will say during this time of night, price is more important for me. Sure, I could have easily got market, but if something like that did happen and I clicked market, and by the time my order got sent through, we might be up here. I might have got a fill at like 50s. I might have got a fill at 50s the way that looked. Is if I hit a market order on my live account, if I got filled at 50s, whoa. Visually, when I was there, when I was looking at the market visually, the market was down here at 45, 46. But by the time my finger clicked the button and it goes through and gets executed, well, the last trade price might be 53, right? Especially during this time, it's rare, but it happens. And I don't want that happening to me. I've had too many bad experiences. Could you imagine during this period of time, okay, what I was just referring to? Put this in perspective. Okay, I went down to the 5 seconds, and we're talking this, okay? "15 seconds in this sell-off. 5, 10, 15. And what did we say? It was 50 points. 50 points in 15 seconds. Could you imagine if someone was trading this and they wanted to get in and they clicked, I don't know, maybe somewhere right here, and they clicked buy? And if we pull up the DOM, I could only imagine what the depth of market looked like at the time. It was probably like a 4 or 5 point spread, ones and twos, like almost nothing on the order book. I'm pretty sure that's an assumption. If you clicked, say, up here, maybe buy market or sell market, you're probably getting a very different price than what you expect. So I've seen it happen. It's happened to me, especially in a live account, okay? Here's this example. These are 5-second candles. So 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And if I wanted to just react to this, I'm like, oh my gosh, the market's selling off. Sell. I need to sell. And I click on sell market, right? So here's the button. So I'm watching this visually. It's like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5. Boom. There's that 5 seconds. I see that and I'm like, okay, sell. And by the time I move the mouse down here and I click on sell market, by the time I click and that order gets sent through and gets executed, we might be all the way down here, all the way down at $6.99. And you're like, whoa, something's wrong. It's like I tried to sell it at $7.23, but I got filled at $6.99. That's 24 points different in a matter of seconds, right? That's the reality of live trading. Like, that is the reality of live trading, live orders, and market orders. People think too many times, I've seen traders think that just because they click buy market, they're going to be getting the price that they see on the screen. Well, you know what? A lot of times, sure, that might be true, but you have to understand how those orders actually work, how live orders actually work, how real accounts actually work, comparing that to, you know what, maybe in this practice account, yeah, I could probably get a better price because I get almost no slippage in sim accounts. It'd be worse by clicking buy. Yeah. Sailor Moon, what are your thoughts about stop market orders in a live account? It depends on, so each order will have its own function, right? Just like these indicators, just like any indicator, just like anything you have acts as a tool and can be a useful tool in your trading, so are the orders, okay? A buy stop can be like, it's just like a stop loss, right? If you have a stop loss, if you're in long, for example, I'm
Order
long right
filled.
now, my stop loss is just a sell stop. It's a sell stop order. So as soon as price gets to it, then it gets executed at market. So even though my stop loss says 733, if the market sells off so fast, I might get executed at 711. Like if we seen what happened during that spike down earlier in like 2 seconds, my fill price might be 711, right? Because of slippage. And so it depends on why you want that order in and what your goal is. And then it also depends on time of day. During the New York session, I'm okay with stop orders because I know there's plenty of liquidity there. And so and here's an example, right? Let's just say I want to buy this market or add to it. Maybe I want to buy this market if we go up. I'm okay. I was like, yeah, you know what? I would like to get in a long if we break above this price. If the market goes up and breaks above 49.75, I want to get long. But I must know that if price jumps, I might not get 49.75. I might get 41 or 53 or something. And maybe if I wanted to get in a short, vice versa, maybe I want to tighten it up a little bit. So I'm okay with those orders. I like them better during the New York session because it's not as sporadic. There's a lot more liquidity. There's a lot more orders. You do not get as much slippage during the New York session or even the London session compared to what you see tonight. Tonight, and what I like to teach during this time of night is higher time frames, right? 5 minute, 1 hour chart, putting in limit orders, not dealing with any of the smaller time frame stuff. Let's see. Time's going by so fast. Last 10 minutes of the night. With love to all, do you trade the London session? I do. But the way I trade it is I'll put orders on, say, for tonight, right now, at this time. Let's just believe, for example, I want to get in long. And I do believe that this market is going to fill the Sunday gap. Okay? Let's just say this is an example, pure example. Let's say I believe this market's going to fill this gap from Sunday. And I want to be long the NASDAQ. Well, I don't mind putting on an order right now, having some stop loss. I'll close my computer off, and then this trade would run throughout the night. And so technically I'm trading the London session. It's been a very long time since I traded the London session physically, right? I'm watching the London session. I'm actually physically trading it. A lot of my trades I usually put on right now at this time of night, and then I'll let them run throughout the London session, and then I'll wake up early in the morning for the New York session, and then I'll manage those trades and go from there. I do like this long, though, by the way, guys. I mean, I wasn't joking about buying this pullback. I want to see us return. What's the ATR? ATR is probably the same. I should probably be able to get like 10 points out of it. Tighten it up. Nice little 1-to-1 risk reward. Let's go through. Do you ever swing trade stocks or do you only trade futures? Jack, yeah, I trade stocks and more commonly I like the options better. Here's a good one. On any of my swing trades, is my entry or exit methodology different from nowadays day trading style? No. When you see me talk about the way I trade right now, it's the same methodology. The only difference is the time frame, right? I'd look at the daily. And I do this each and every night for slow markets. I look at higher time frames. I look at setups from higher time frames. If you guys were joining me for slow markets, this was one of the better setups. This is one of the much better setups that we've had for a while. We sold off. We were at this nice level on the, like you could see where we had this. Here's a low. Here's a higher low. We sold off. We had a nice consolidation. We had 2 indecisive candles on the daily chart here on the NASDAQ. Beautiful opportunity for a swing trade. Worked out amazing. On my personal account, I actually ended closing up some, I think, around here. I didn't catch this entire move. I only held it for like a day and a half. And then I held the other ones and I closed it out. I think it was right around here. I typically don't catch entire moves. I just like catching pieces of it. So same methodology. Looks like this trade is zoomed in, just watching this one. I think I'm just going to try and get a quick fill. Get out of this one. Ooh, no.
Order filled.
There we go. So fast. Yeah. You know I love selling puts. Selling puts that's my style. That's all me. Selling puts, cash secured puts on stocks I want to own. Yeah. Regular trading hours, more liquidity, less slippage. Tonight, higher time frames. Higher time frames. Yeah, I only talk about the 1 minute for example purposes only, but 5 minute is probably the lowest time frame I like to get. The theta wheel. American Pride knows what I'm talking about. You've been there. You've done that. American Pride knows exactly what I do. It's simple, huh? The theta will. Who else knows what that is? You ain't commenting on subscriber statistics on Topstep. We need advices. What? What? Cliff jump earring? What? How many contracts per trade on a 5K account recommended? My answer is it depends. I would say 1 micro, 2 micros. Theta will. Theta is a good sound wave. If you're an options trader, you know exactly what that is. You know what theta is. Good or bad, you know what it is. A lot of traders in here probably know it from a bad experience if you guys trade options. New here. Where's the leaderboard posted? Stay tuned. It's posted every day on TopstepTV. Posted in the mornings during fast markets. If not, you can actually see it on Topstep's Twitter. Topstep's Twitter. Theta is why you stop trading options. Yeah. I'm sure the majority of the traders here in the chat have bad experience with theta. Austin Akers, who is the number 1? I don't know. I didn't check today's. I did not check today's leaderboard. It's pinned in the comments on Discord in Topstep TV channel. Thank you, Andrew. So right there in the Discord channel, in Topstep's Discord, it is there. Markets are dead. Yeah, there's not much going on. It is Friday's price action. We have 2 gaps. We have 2 gaps in this market that I'm watching going into tomorrow. We do have the gap from tonight that we've seen. Here's that gap. We also have that gap from Sunday night that I am also watching going into tomorrow. These are the key levels that I will have on my radar for tomorrow's and tonight's trading price action. You filled it. Try being a seller. Yeah, being a seller. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much for options. How big of a move do you usually like to get points wise? Lately, 20 points. 20 points during the New York session is perfect. It depends on the situation. I will always say it depends. It depends. It depends on so many different things. It depends on the setup. It depends on the direction of the market, the trade, the volatility. But the safest answer for me to say would be about 20 points on the NASDAQ during the New York session. Man, who's ready for the weekend? Who's ready for tomorrow, actually? I do not discuss options, no. Friday's price action goes crazy. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm going to be on Topstep TV tomorrow morning. It's going to be a fun one. It always is. Fridays are always the best. Remember, trading is optional. You do not have to trade. It is Friday's price action. And if you're already up for the week, sometimes the best advice is to just not trade and enjoy your weekend sometimes. Probably most times. Oh, yes, that's right. That is right. If you guys missed it, you know what else is a big thing tomorrow? My Topstep VIP team is being drafted tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm super excited. Pop Squad, Process Over Profits Squad, Pop Squad, it's going to be drafted tomorrow. Last two teams tomorrow. 50 traders for my team, 50 traders per team. Pop Squad is going to be drafted. I'm excited. I'm going to be there. Hopefully somebody, all I want is to have active traders. I want traders who are willing to learn, willing to continue to improve. I'm not going to be like, yeah, this is how you should do it. I just want them to trade their own process, become better. Tomorrow is the draft. Tune in tomorrow. It's going to be right after Fast Markets. I'm going to be on Fast Markets right after that. We're going to be having the draft. Man, it's going to be a good one. And then it's the last one, 10 teams. And the last two are tomorrow. And remember, if you do not get in, there's going to be another one. There's going to be season 3. This is season 2. After season 2 is season 3, obviously. And so if you do not get in on this season, there will be another. Now remember, what I'm even more excited about is not only this draft, not only Topstep VIP, but Topstep Trading League. I think this puts a really good structure into getting that in place. I like to see the draft. I like to see how the coaches are and how the teams are performing. You know, the stats, the dashboards, the trader statistics, everything. And I think it's just going to continue to build one off of another. And then as we start to figure out, and as the team starts to figure out the Topstep Trading League, it's just going to continue to get better and better and better. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it at tonight. Take care, everybody. I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. If not during the draft, right after, or maybe even Sunday night. Take care, everybody. See you then.